Hello all and welcome to today's video. My name is John McFall and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make semi-passive income. In today's video, I want to talk to you about questions that a couple of people have put on my videos, which is should you use more than one phone when you're out here doing food delivery and you are multi-apping? Kind of want to tell you what I do and how I approach it, and kind of give you some insight into what would be the best approach for you to take when it comes to using one phone or two phones when you're out here, and the benefits and the drawbacks to having more than one phone. Before we get into the topic, I do want to remind you that down here in my description, I always have my metric spreadsheet, and this is a great tool that you guys can use to do better when you're out here doing food delivery. And I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can take a quick look at it. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total hours that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you head to the right, you'll see for each individual app, I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Then head to the bottom and you'll see that it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, along with your average per delivery. If you want to know how well you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery, the only way you can is to keep track of your numbers. If you keep track of your numbers, this will show you where you are and help give you insight into where you need to improve. So head down here into my description and go grab a free copy of it for yourself. And with that, let's get into the topic. So I had a couple of people in my comments on a couple of my videos. They asked if I actually use one or two phones when I'm out here doing food delivery. The answer to that question is I use two phones when I'm out here doing food delivery, but not in the way that a lot of people do when they're out here. A lot of people use more than one phone so that they can see both or two apps on two phones so that they can kind of gauge what order is the best one and decide which one, and having it on two phones allows them to see two apps at one time. I do not do this. I actually have one phone that I use that is specifically for food delivery. This is the one that I open up for DoorDash, for Uber Eats, and GrubHub, and I also use it as my navigation when I'm out here doing food delivery. So I put on all the apps on this one phone, and then when I get orders and need to make it from point A to point B, I use the map function on that phone, and that is all it is for when I'm out here. My other phone, the reason I have a second phone is I use it to do a couple of things. Number one, a lot of personal calls and things come in when I'm out doing food delivery, so I use that phone for personal reasons. The second thing I use it for is when I get order and pay orders, I use that phone to call in the orders, so I'm not messing up what's going on the app phone by trying to make phone calls while I am trying to do deliveries. So what would be the pros of using two different phones when you are out doing food delivery? Especially if you're a multi-apper and you run three apps, it would be very beneficial to have two separate phones with your two top apps on them so that you can see both of those apps at the same time. When they send orders to you, you can decide which one is the best one that you can take. This saves you from having to scroll through the different apps on one phone so that you can see what the offers are, and this would allow you to make that decision a little bit more quickly and be able to take a look at both of the offers at the same time so that you can get a good visual on what they are sending you. To me, this is really the only benefit of using two phones, and this is the only reason I would suggest that you should use two phones, and that's really about it. When I'm out here doing food delivery, I have my phone mounted right on my dash with the app so that it is at eye level. So when I'm driving down the road, I can just look over and glance and see what the phone is doing. The biggest con that I see in using two different phones is when we are driving down the road and we are getting offers sent to us. If we had two phones that are sending us offers when we are driving down the road, because face it, most of the time when we get orders coming in and want to take a look at them, we're not just sitting in a parking lot waiting for those orders to come in. We are actively, on a delivery, or we're driving around to from one hotspot to another, and we are having a lot of things going on because we've got to pay attention to the road and we've got to pay attention to everything around us. So when we are having more than one phone up on the dash or on the, mounted to the windshield, to me, this would cause even more distraction than we already have. We've got to put a lot of focus and attention onto the road when we are driving, and if we had to look at more than one phone when we are trying to drive, I think that this would cause more of a distraction and take our eyes off of the road. So to me, the having two phones that are actually running apps on them, I think that this is a bad route for people to go because of the distraction of doing it, and this is the biggest reason that I don't think that people should use two phones when they are out here. It is really easy on a phone to scroll between apps today. On smartphones, they make it so easy. Depending on the model that you have, you either push the button on earlier models of iPhones, or you just scroll up from the bottom on the newer models of iPhones. The other smartphones like Samsung's, they work in a similar fashion. So to me, the drawback of having multiple phones is the fact that you are more likely to get into an accident when you're out here doing food delivery if you have to pay attention to more than one phone. The biggest reason that a lot of people say that you should use two phones is the actual time that the apps allow you to decide on whether or not you are going to take an order. They only give you literally seconds to take a look at it and decide, because they've got to make sure that that order gets covered. So you got a very limited time to make the decision on whether you want to take it or not. However, if you are quick about scrolling through the different apps on your phone, and you can just basically take a quick look at the orders and the offers that are being sent to you, the time is plenty of time for you to make that decision on an order. It is a really, really quick thought. You've got to take a look at the dollars that they're offering, the miles that it is. You have to look at the map real quick and see where it's dropping you, and the way our brains work, we can actually do this in literally a couple of seconds, because that's how fast our brains work. I do understand, and I do know that some people have a hard time doing this. They have a hard time making a quick decision and taking all that information in and processing it to make the choice on what one they want to take. However, for most of us, this is not the case, and if you take a quick look at it, you can easily decide if it's a good order for you or not. My recommendation to you is, if you are new to the platforms, if you are new to multi-apping and you are just starting to learn how to do it, my recommendation is to start with one app and get really good at doing food delivery with that one app. And then, instead of trying to take on everything at one time, start by adding the second app in when you are out here doing food delivery, once you have mastered doing it on one app. And then after that happens, then add another app into it, and only do two of them if you are on all three. And then get yourself used to and comfortable with doing it on both of the apps at the same time. And after you've done this for a while, then you add the third one. If you take the time to acclimate yourself to working more than one app on one phone, you can actually start to learn how to take a quick look at the orders that are coming in and make a split-second decision on which one is the best. And this will allow you to grow into and learn how to do it the right way. If you try to do all of them at the same time and you've never done it before, it is going to be very frustrating and very difficult, and you are going to be very distracted. However, if you take baby steps into it and you grow into it, this will allow you to focus and keep your mind where it's supposed to be, which is on the road when you're getting the orders coming in. And then you will be able to do multi-apping and to run multiple apps on your phone and be comfortable with changing the apps as you're driving down the road to take a look at the different offers that are coming in. So my recommendation is to start with one app, add a second one, then when you master that, add the third one in until you get really good at it and it becomes second nature. I want you to think about driving, okay? When you first started driving, you had to worry about the steering, you had to worry about the gas, you had to worry about the brake, you had to worry about the turn signals, you had to worry if it was raining, running the windshield wipers and the lights and the radio and everything else in that car. When you were first starting, it was very overwhelming to have to focus on all those things at the same time. However, after you've been driving for a long time, you don't even think about these things because it is just second nature, because you have been doing it for a very long time, and you can do a lot of the things that you had to put a lot of focus on in the beginning of your driving. You don't have to have the same focus because it's second nature. You don't have to think in your head, okay, the gas pedal is on the right and the brake is on the left. You just automatically and intuitively know that they are there. You don't have to think about where is the turn signal lever because you know where it is and you just do it automatically now. The same applies when you are multi-apping and working with multiple apps at the same time. Once you've done it for a long time, it is literally second nature, and you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into the mechanics of it so that you can make those decisions and you can scroll through them very easily when you're out here doing food delivery. To me personally, using multiple phones is not a good idea because it takes your eyes off of the road if you're focusing on more than one phone, even more so than we already do using only one phone. So, you know, if you're interested in trying it out and seeing how it works for you, go ahead and do it. But I don't really find that it's necessary when you're out here doing food delivery to use more than one phone at the same time with two apps on it, especially if you're multi-apping 3 apps. It really makes no sense to have 2 phones because you're still going to have to scroll through at least 2 apps on one of the phones. So I don't find it's a really good use of your time to have more than one phone. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and learned a lot. I would like to ask you and remind you to head down into my description and go grab that metric spreadsheet. I've also got some other great tools down there, which is the Beans app and SimplyWise and QuickBooks Self-Employed. These are tools that I use all the time when it comes to food delivery. So go down into my description and check them out to see if they could help you. Also would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And finally, I want to leave you with, I hope that you are out here getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.